What's up, peeps? My name's Ian. I sell books on eBay. It's Sunday. I've got about 11 orders going out. I'm going to run through them. I'm going to try and give a bit more of a breakdown on what the basic profit is on each order. By that I mean I'm not taking into account my shop subscription fees and breaking it down across all the different orders and fuel costs and all these different bits and pieces, but I will try and break it down as best as possible. And the first order is 2 Clive Cussler hardcovers. So we've got The Corsican Shadow and Condor's Fury. Now, one of these is a first edition, the other one is not, which means that the total sale value for those was $13.99. And I'm just going to the app on my phone and try and give you a wee breakdown on the costs. First thing I need to do is get a weight on them, just to confirm they are under 2 kilos, so 1.4 kilograms, which means that it's going to be £3.39 in postage. These went with promoted listings, which means that £13.99 sale less £2.08 basic transaction fees and then £2.63 promoted listing fees leaves me with £9.28 less £3.39 to post them, takes me down to £5.90. Now there are, packaging costs, 20p maximum, in amongst that as well. So a conservative £5.50 from the 2 hardcover books. They cost me 25 pence each to buy, so that's £5 profit from 2 hardcover books. So a nice return on that particular order. And I'll stick them down there for the packing. Right, next we have 5 Wilbur Smith books. So let's go and check them out. Now, here's the 5. There we go. Some vintage, some new. Now these are under 2 kilos. I know that, but confirming 1.7. So that works out very nicely. Now I got £12.99 total for those, and the fees side of thing was £1.98 basic transaction fees and then £2.59 again a promoted listing, which leaves me with £8.42 less £3.39 leaves me with just over £5, and they'll have cost me £1.25 to buy, so that takes me down to about £4.75, 20 pence for packaging, £4.50 for the 5 books. This is not taking into account any VAT rebate that I'll get on the price of my postage and my listing fees, so there will be an additional 70 odd pence on any of these given orders to go out on top of that. So about £4.50 from those. So at the moment averaging £5 a sale, but I'm quite sure that will come down. Right, next we have, open them up on this, another bundle of 5 Marion Keyes paperbacks. Again, these should be under, this is a good one now. These are big books, so they're over 2 kilos, so they're going to cost me more to post. So this is one of the ones where you take a wee bit of a hit, you don't make as much. But the good thing is they didn't go in promoted listings, so I got £12.99 in, and my basic transaction fees were £1.98, so that leaves me with £11 and a penny. It's going to be about just under £6 to post these. So I'll call it 6 once I take the packaging into account, which leaves me with £5 and a penny. Take off £1.25 because that's what they cost me, that's £3.75 for that order of 5. So I hope this has given a bit of an idea about, just exactly what these sales are worth. The next one, we have Citadel of Chaos by Steve Jackson. This is one of the fighting fantasy books. Now this sold for 20 quid on its own, so this is one of the Outliers. But obviously if you're picking up a lot of books, you find Outliers, and there's always some of these going out every day, and they do certainly help with profits. If I only relied on these books, the ones that are worth £10 plus, where I can make a substantial profit per item, then I wouldn't get many sales, because there's only so many of these out there to find, and I can only find them because I pick up so much stuff. And that's kind of the deal I've got with places. They let me do my thing. If I take a lot, make it worth their while getting out the door. If I was just to try and go through and cherry pick all of these, then I wouldn't have the same opportunities. But you do find these. If I pick up 100 books, I'll find a couple, at least a couple, that are worth £10 plus. And this was one of those. What have we got? So £20 in total coming in, £2.82 basic transaction fees, and then again promoted listings another £2.16, which means £15.02 coming back in that. This will go Royal Mail. It's going to go large letter tracked, because it's just a skinny book, so it'll be about £2.70 in postage, which, coming off of the £15.02, well, let's call it £3 to include the cost of the book as well. It makes it nice and simple. So that's about £12 profit on that one little book. So yeah, that's the equivalent of selling 12 normal books. But if I only relied on these, then I wouldn't, I'd have had one sale yesterday. I would rather have multiple sales, make more money, even though it looks like more effort, but it really is very insubstantial. Now, this next one goes to the other end of the spectrum, and it is Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. So wee vintage classics. Who is it? Robert M. Pirsig. Lovely looking book. Picked this up a wee while ago. It's only sold for £4.25, which is where the finances get a bit more interesting. And these are the ones that if all I was doing was selling these, then I really would need to be selling 300 books a day to be making any kind of reasonable money. But as it stands, £4.25 in, 83p in my transaction fees. Didn't go promoted listed, so there's no additional fees on top of that, which means there's £3.42 coming back in. It's going to go, it'll be £2.94 to post that, so that leaves me with just shy of 50p, which on the face of it is 25p profit, taking your packaging costs and everything, and essentially up front I break even on that book, but the VAT rebate is where I make any kind of money on these ones, so about 75p on that book. And that's the ones that a lot of people don't understand why I bother. But if over the course of a quarter I sell a couple of thousand books, then those 75p add up, and the VAT rebate can be quite substantial from that point of view. Right, next one. Now, I'm curious as to what these weigh. I know they're well under. We've got 6 Daft Pilkey books, so 5 Captain Underpants and a wee dog man on top. These are always quite dense books, so I'm always a bit curious as to what they're going to weigh when they come out. Not concerned, because everything's taken into account. Even if that had to go for £6, I'm still going to make a profit. Not as much, but I will still make a profit. But money's wise, so we had £17.74 came in for the total sale value. We had basic transaction fees of £2.52, promoted listing fees of £3.30, and that means that the order earnings from that are £11.92, less £1.50, because that's what they cost me to buy. So that takes us down to £10.40, less £3.40 to post them. So that takes me down to £7 for the 6 books, and then obviously the whole VAT thing on top of that as well. So again, more than £1 a book on those. I'm hoping anyone that watched a wee bit of yesterday's video, I'm hoping this gives it a bit of context around how the pricing and everything does all work and what it looks like. I say this is demonstrative of what you can do depending on what your model is. I really don't go through that and say, right, I've made £33 today, whatever it works out as, and that goes into my bank account and I pay my taxes on it. This is money that's back into the business, and at the end of the month I basically draw the minimum salary I possibly can, and the rest stays in the business to help develop that and increase profit. So it's, if all you were doing was selling it and pocketing the money, paying your taxes, of course, then this is potentially how it could look to you. But I'm using it just to demonstrate that rather than exactly how I take money out of the business. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, next we've got a copy of Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. £4.65 this one went for. So how does that work out? Did it go promoted listings? No, it didn't. So £4.65, 87 pence in basic transaction fees, which leaves me with £3.78. It's going to be £2.94 to post it, so that's 80 something pence coming back on that one. Less the cost of the book, less the packaging, about 50p plus VAT back once all of that gets processed. Next we've got a big bundle, so this one will look a bit different. We have 10 Clive Cussler paperbacks, so all going out in the one order, and these are obviously over 2 kilos. It'll be a 2 to 5 bracket for those, 3.5. Let's just see what the earnings worked out as on that. So scroll to the bottom, find the numbers. So these did go promoted listing, which means it had £21.99 came in. That's the value of the sale. Transaction fees, basic transaction fees, £3.13. Promoted listing fees, £4.14, which means I've got £14.72 coming back from that. Now £6 to post it, that takes me down to £8.70. 10 books would be £2.50, so that takes me down to about £6. Packaging 20p, so about £6 back for those 10 books going out. But obviously the VAT return on that is more substantial because the postage and the fees are, what was that, £7, £7.30 plus another £6, so about £13-14 is what I've paid out, where I'll be able to claim VAT back in that, so that's £2 or £3 back. So again, it keeps me up well over the £1 a book, well just over the £1 a book for the 10 of those, and they're not any more difficult to pack than packing a single book. All my Clive Cussler books, sorry, just reaching down there to do that, are in the same place, so picking them, it only takes a moment longer than if I had to pick one Clive Cussler book. I just grab 10 instead, so there's no great difference in effort. Next, another single book at a slightly different price point. So again, this gives us a different example. We've got Lucinda Riley even, The Seven Sisters. This sold for £4.99, so £4.99 in. And now this one did go promoted listings as a single book, which means that we paid 91 pence in basic fees and then 78 pence in promoted listing fees, which leaves me with £3.30 back off of that one. £2.94 to post it, 25p to buy it, 10p in packaging on this one, so it's another break even from that point of view. So with the promoted listings extra fee, I break even on that, but the VAT rebate, as usual, is where any profit will come from on that particular book. Are we near the end? A couple more. Lots of different price points today, which is quite good from the point of view of understanding the sales. Next we have 4 Linley Dodd, Harry McClary, Slinky Malinky wee board books. So just a little bundle, a pre-made bundle. So they were listed for £9.99 and they have sold for £9.99. They did sell promoted listings. So we had £9.99 in, £1.47 transaction fees, £1.52 in the promoted listings fees, which means I get exactly £7 back on that sale. It's going to be £3.40 to post these, so that's £3.50 left if I take into account the 10 pence in packaging these will be. However, the cost of goods, and actually I should have taken this into account with the Dav Pilkey books as well. Kids books, I very rarely pay the same money. Most places where I get the kids books, I get them much, much cheaper. So it's likely that I paid 10-15 pence for these books. So worst case scenario, 60 pence for that lot there, which means I'm getting about £2.90 back in cash flow profit, as it were, on those 4 little hardcover books. And it was one listing to put up, very minimal effort to make that money, and that's the key thing here. A lot of these, they don't look like an awful lot of money, but the amount of effort required is minimal, and that's where the real profit comes from. I spend more time talking about them to you guys than it takes to pick and pack, in the most part. I mean, this is going to be 15-20 minutes on this wee chat. It'll take me maybe 10 minutes or so to get these all packed up, a couple of minutes to do the labels. Took me maybe 10 minutes to get them all picked, so yeah, that's where it sits. Last one is another low value book, £4.35 this time, for The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. Well, I can't even say it. So £4.35 in equates to, it wasn't promoted listings, so 85 pence in basic transaction fees, leaves me with £3.50 back in this. It's going to be £2.94 to post it. Cost of the book's 25p, so that takes me up to 320. Cost of packaging is 10p, that takes me up to 330. So 20p back on that one, plus the VAT rebate, etc. So yeah, you say, oh, I've sold that and I made 20p. That does not sound good. It does not sound impressive, but it's quantity, and this is a few hours worth of sales. It's not a full day. I had some that came in yesterday that I just got done and dusted, so this is just stuff from kind of later on yesterday through yesterday evening, and a couple of orders from this morning, Sunday morning as well. So that's what it looks like sales value wise. Hopefully that makes it a wee bit clearer about what to expect if you do want to start selling books. It's not big money. If you're buying 10 books to try and sell 10 books, you're going to make a few quid, unless you've got a couple of really good ones in there. If you've got very limited space, then you won't be picking up books like that Steve Jackson one, and that's all you want to focus on. But it will take you a while to get a reasonable stock of that in and available. They're not super rare to find a book that's worth a good few pounds, but they're nowhere near as common as most of the ones here. You can walk into most places, and as long as their prices are right, you can just run along the shelves in a couple of minutes and grab a big bundle of books that are then ready to be listed however you choose to list them, and you will make small profits on each of those, but you can get through them very, very quickly. That's the easiest part of it. I spend a lot more time than is required to do this at the moment, because I am trying to get to the point to see, well, what would a 40-hour week look like? But eBay's always behind in the effort that you're putting in now. So you put in effort now to get the rewards in a month, 2 months, 3 months time. So I'm slowly increasing that effort, as changing how I manage my stock space, how I'm listing things, the type of stuff I'm getting in, so on and so forth, which means that I've got quite a substantial potential increase in revenue at some point in the not too distant future, and I'm already beginning to see that materialise. The last few months, the kind of average daily sales value has increased by £10 to £20 each month, and the average daily profit has increased by kind of £10 to £15 per day, over the last few months. That's not happening every day, but that's over the course of a month. So it is going up as I list more and more, and I just need to find out what the sweet spot is, and that's what I'm striving towards with all of this. So I've got a few things to list today. I may go out and do a pickup. I'm trying really hard not to, because the only reason I'm going is that kind of fear of missing out, that there might be some bangers in there. And by bangers, I don't just mean the high value books, but there could be a big stack of Lee Child, or one of the authors that sells really well in the variation listings. If they've got a big pile of them, I want them, because that's good sales, good traffic, everything keeps coming back through. And that's really where we are today. One thing, I sold a book last week. It was on the video, probably on Wednesday, Alien Invasion. And I got a message from the buyer yesterday. So this is like the estimated delivery date was the 18th, so that was yesterday. It hadn't arrived early yesterday morning, so they're on, where's the book? So I went and checked the tracking. It's simply showing that there's been no attempt to deliver it yet. Sent them that information, and this morning, or late last night, I'm not sure which, they've opened an item not received case. So, some people, obviously, they're looking for something, a fight, a free book, I don't know. So for now, I shall disregard that. It will be delivered on Monday or Tuesday, as you would expect, and then I'll send them a screenshot of that. But I mean, people, come on. If you buy something on Wednesday and it's an expected, eBay have estimated it may arrive by the 18th, but the carriers don't count Saturday and Sunday as delivery days. I know we get deliveries on Saturdays and sometimes Sundays, depending on the carrier, but they don't count it as such. If they've said 2 to 3 working days, then it ain't going to get there before the 3 days. There's very few of them get stuff out that fast. There might be the occasion when that's why they get to say 2 days, but for the most part it's 3 days. So it should arrive tomorrow or Tuesday, and at that point, well before the end of their case details work out, I'll just ping them a wee screenshot of it. But it's really annoying when you get people like that. There's no need for it. They sent me the message, I replied straight away. If they had further questions or queries, ask. You don't need to go opening cases, which are just going to fall flat and they will go nowhere. So you've wasted your time on that piece, and you've wasted my time as well, which is the bit that I find most frustrating. But anyway, it's Sunday morning. It's going to get sunny again today, hopefully. So it'll be another good day. And that is all for now. See you later. Back again. So Monday morning now, and it's been a pretty quiet weekend. Not a great surprise considering the weather. You know, people are out and about. Retail, good weather, it always bombs, especially that first really nice little burst. So no great surprise, and it's the whole country that just about that's getting it at the moment. Quite often up here we hear about, and the weather's unbelievable, but it's talking about like the southeast. Fair enough, most people live there for the whole of the UK, but the rest of the country's unaffected, so things tick over okay. But when it's everywhere like this, yeah, you expect it to go down. People are out and about doing things instead. But 9 sales, and again a nice bit of a mix, much like yesterday. So I'm going to run through what we got, and the first is a set of C.S. Lewis Narnia books 1 to 7, the nice kind of 90s, 80s, 90s vintage pack, and they went for £9.99. Will I break that down for you? Where do we go? So £9.99 in, didn't go promoted listings, so transaction fees were £1.47 on that lot, £3.40 to post them, so that takes £8.52 less £3.40, £5.10 less 10p for packaging on that lot, so about a £5 back for those 7 little kiddies paperbacks. As I said yesterday, earlier on, depending how you look at it, the kids books like that I probably paid, maybe £1.15 or £1.10 for all 7 of those books, so not an expensive pickup and well worth what you get back. Next is Red Rosa. This is a non-fiction graphic novel. Don't really know much about it at all, but it looked interesting. So it's a graphic biography of Rosa Luxemburg. Don't know anything about it other than that. £4.65, which means that £4.65 in 87 pence in transaction fees, and then promoted listing fees of 67 pence, so £3.11 back, £2.94 to post it. The money's in the VAT there. Next, one of the Avatar books, so I've only got one of these left now. This one went for £26, so it's Smoke and Shadow Library Edition, Avatar The Last Airbender. And on this one, did it go promoted? Yes, it did. So £26 in, £3.25 in basic transaction fees, and then another £3.12 in promoted listing fees. So that leaves me £19.63 back on that one. £3 odd quid to post it, a wee bit of packaging, so about £16 back in on that one. And the cost of that wasn't much more than my usual, but you know, the average is still 25 pence a book. Right, what have we got? Wilbur Smith. 3 Wilbur Smiths. A large paperback of Monsoon, and then just 2 normal vintagey ones. £10.99 for those 3, and they did go promoted listings, which means click, click, bump. Got to click, click, bump things, haven't you? Means it's sold for, where are we? £10.99 in, £1.71 in transaction fees, and £2.18 in promo fees. So £7.10 back for that lot. £3 odd quid to post it, £3 odd quid in profit. That's fairly doos. Kind of sticks with the 30%, 30%, 30% right across the board. You know what I've just noticed? The microphone isn't attached to me because I'm not wearing a shirt or anything today. It's just not there. So I'm just going to leave it kind of hanging there, and hopefully you can still hear me okay, because if you can't, I ain't got time to do this again. One of those things. Right, next up, this was a nice resale. 5 Bridgerton paperbacks, so new season's just started on Netflix, so always going to be a wee bit of a surge on that one, but 5 of them went for £22.99. I didn't have these on promoted because they were quite recently listed, which means, where are we? £22.99 in, £2.92 out on fees, so £20.07 back in those, £3 odd quid to post them. You know how it works. So £16-17 profit on that little bundle. Oh, quite nice. Right, next one, book on its own, £4.25 for Attack on Titan. It's an adventure, year 850, last stand at Wall Rose. Now it's a novel rather than a graphic novel, and I think it's a choose your path. So you notice that, oh, the Titan's going to bite your head off, do you? You know the type. Anyway, £4.25 for that, which means pennies profit. I've broken down quite a few of the £4.25, so there's no real need to do it again. Next one is the same, £4.25, Rennie Adia, Flame in the Mist. So it's some sort of fantasy thing, I'm quite sure. Here we go. Samurai. Maybe it's Far East historical fiction. I don't know. Anyway, very pretty book, and £4.25. Nothing spectacular. Next, we have a bundle of 5 Ian Rankin books, 1 hardcover and 4 little paperbacks. They went for £13.99, and I wanted to check the weight. Yes, it is under 2 kilos, which means, let's see, that's a slightly different sale, so we'll see what that works out as. £13.99 in, £2.11 in transaction fees out, £2.76 in promoted listings fees, which leaves me with £9.12. So £3.50 for post and pack. Was that £8.40? About £5.40. So a bit of £5 back on the 5 books going out. One more order, and this one went for £4.99. Solitaire by Alice Osman. Heartstoppers, I think, was Alice as well, and that's recently or about to get an adaptation, so that'll push up the popularity of these a little bit. It's going to be a good wee run on them. I've got quite a few of her books sitting about actually, and I've seen quite a few recently, and I don't know if that's just because I've become aware of it or they have appeared. But we've got £4.99 in, 91 pence in transaction fees, no promoted listing fees in this one, so that's £4.08 back on that order there. £2.94 to post it, 10p in packaging, about £1, and then the VAT stuff off the other end. So that is everything I've got out for the weekend. I say a pretty quiet weekend, all things considered, but not a bad weekend by any stretch of the imagination. I've certainly had worse in the past. I'm hoping that's just an indication that this month's going to keep ticking over. It's really strong start, but the early month run dropped off really quickly, much quicker than usual, and then it's been very steady. A couple of actually one lowish day, one slightly higher than the rest of the days, and everything's been very flat across the board. So it's not a bad, it'd be nice to have more sales obviously, but it's not been a bad month as such, and by the end of the month I should be slightly ahead of where I was the previous month, so it keeps ticking up and up and up, but we'll see how all that works out. As ever, thank you very much for watching, observing this, whatever you want to call it. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Leave a like, leave a comment, do what you please, but most importantly, enjoy the good weather, and I'll see you all soon.